or rubber?
Depends what I'm using. Depends what it's for.
Well, now that we're live on air, we probably should clarify what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching the Daytripper Photo Show, everybody. We are live. I like to surprise people when I hit the start button. So tonight is episode number 187. It's the Banter Show. As you've noticed already, we've started bantering about some stuff. We're talking about this thing that covers your viewfinder in the back of a camera. Apparently, Canon gives you one on your strap.
Yep.
Where Nikon gives you a metal one that goes on the back. So we're talking about, would you rather have a rubber one, a plasticky one, or would you rather have a metal one that's actually going to last you? But whatever.
But the bigger question is, would you actually still use it? Like, the last time I had light leak issues on a camera was, ironically enough, not on my old Minolta X700. Haven't had a light leak on that thing, knock on pretend IKEA would. The last time I had light leak in a camera was when I shot with an Olympus E500. And that thing had some terrible light leak. In fact, it was light that was coming from not even outside the camera. I'm pretty convinced it was coming from something inside the camera. It was a mess.
It was coming from the bright idea you had while you were making your photo.
It could have been.
That's right. No, it's a problem.
Regret of buying an Olympus.
See, that's what I like about the D700, because you have that round viewfinder, and there's an internal little flappy do. You just go flappy do like this, and it shutters closed.
Yep.
Anyway, I digress. So, tonight's episode, we're talking about all kinds of cool stuff. We have some information about new cameras. We're going to talk about some new stuff from Nikon, from Fuji, and from Canon. Yes, Canon has finally said something about the 5D Mark IV. It's a camera. Guess what? Woo.
Big pictures. Probably has a bunch of megapixels.
It has a couple. Has some megapixels.
Right.
Hi, Ivan. Thanks for watching, bud. Just to remind everybody, if you're watching right now, please feel free to say something in the Q&A. We have some viewers already, so that's awesome. Thank you very much. That's actually a lot more viewers than we normally have so soon. We must be talking about something interesting. What would happen if we just stopped talking and just... No, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
That would just be annoying. Michael, how are you? I haven't said hi to you yet.
Hi, I'm good. It's been a busy week, but... I showed you guys in the pre-show the last shoot that I did. I'm still working on everything. I've done a couple of shoots, but they've all been shoots that I don't get to share with anyone, so I'm kept busy with no rewards so far.
I had a couple like that.
The life of a struggling photographer. That's what we do. Lots of stuff you get no rewards for, unfortunately, sometimes. Who's that behind you? I know, we've already been introduced, but...
This is my girlfriend, who's actually one of our viewers as well. So she's watching the show with a little bit of a delay. Ooh, quite a bit of a delay. Okay. It was maybe about 10 seconds ago.
Wow.
Interesting. I've always been curious of what that delay is.
I just started that sentence.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty bad, actually. When we did the Jeopardy show, it was a mess because the delay just made it impossible for people to hit their button and say, I know the answer, and actually have it work. But on that note, and it's a decent segue, starting September 12th, I believe it is, Hangouts will no longer be on Google+. So this whole show thing could be in a different place.
Okay.
So that place would be Facebook Live. And apparently Facebook Live, it works very much like the Google Hangout platform. People could still chat to you. People could still be a part of it, and it's done straight to Facebook, so you don't need a Google Plus account or a Gmail account to sign in, and apparently it's going to be a lot easier for the global world, as opposed to the, I don't know, other kind of world, to be involved in the show, so that's kind of cool. I've tried to start up one of these Hangouts already through Google or through YouTube Live, and had miserable failure so far, so I hope when it's time to transition over to the new platform, we'll be able to go with it. That's our intent. If not, who knows? Maybe it's the end of the Daytripper show. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We can always test it out. Figure out what platform it's on.
Let's hope. Let's hope it works.
Gotta figure it
out. Christine Small's watching. Joseph Leduc is watching. Hello to you guys. Thank you so much for saying hello to us in the Q&A. Just to remind everybody, the Daytripper Photo Show is all part of a community. This community is on the Google Plus community platform within Google+. That's where we keep all the daily, weekly, monthly adventures going. So if anybody has any questions about photography, if anybody has any comments about the show, or just wants to say hi to any of us, or talk about the Loft Studio, or Michael's services, Phil's services, whatever, join the Daytripper community on Google+. Be a part of the entire flow of things. That's where we post our photos for the photo challenges. That's where we go to answer your questions. That's our hub. So check it out, Daytripper Photo on Google+. It's a lot of fun. Also, if you're watching this right now and you're watching this on YouTube, please click like. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share it with some people that you know who might be interested in photography. They might get a kick out of it. You know, I watch the show back after every episode. And sometimes I just want to, like, stab myself in my eyes with a fork. Not lately. And it was a while, but sometimes it happens. Lately, I'm just loving it. I'm really enjoying the conversation. I think the flow is pretty cool. Maybe we could get a little bit more excited once in a while. Maybe we can do like handstands and stuff. But other than that, I think it's going pretty good. So hopefully it'll continue on. Always entertains me, except for when I talk too much. I think I'm doing that.
That seems like a good segue to talk about our sponsors.
Let's do that. Why don't you start?
Well, I'd like to thank Sennheiser, maker of your headphones, and the headphones that I was listening to earlier when I was editing pictures.
Not these ones, unfortunately.
No? Okay, so not those ones. Those are
ones,
different.
The ones that you have right now.
Yes, these ones that have a awesome cord on them that are a little springy. But anyway, I digress. Also, LensPen, as LensPen is a great way of cleaning your camera, and I have some here.
Oh, look at you.
Eventually, they'll get delivered to where they need to go. I'm thinking this Saturday.
Yes, I think one of our viewers might have some words to say about that.
Yes, we're trying to coordinate.
Okay.
And of course, there's always the cotton carrier stuff, and a huge thank you to Sigma, as Sigma and then Gentech in general, as they are suppliers of the lenses that we tend to use on a lot of the day trips.
Look what I got.
Ooh, nice. Is that one of the art ones? This
is the 18 to 35 1.8.
So good.
I am a big fan of this lens. We have the lenses right now for this Sunday's food photography session with Nabi Noom. And yeah, as soon as it's
Wasn't it last Sunday?
No, it's this coming, the 28th.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was last Sunday.
No, sir. Not yet.
That explains why I haven't seen pictures of it.
That would explain it. They're going to be cool.
Comment.
So as soon as I get the Sigma lenses, the briefcases of lenses, the first thing I do is I grab the Nikon 1835. I love this thing. They're awesome lens. All right. So Christine's watching right now, Phil.
Yep.
You're busted, buddy.
But again, I think Saturday will probably work, if that works for you. I'm out in the Oshawa area. We'll figure it out.
Excellent. Michael, anything new you have coming up that you want to share, you want to talk about before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show?
Coming up, not really. I'm working on a motorcycle series. I was supposed to do what would be my last shoot with my cousin's motorcycle this Saturday, and I've lost my model. So I don't have a model for this shoot now, and I can't find anyone with the right luck. She's not going to be available, not for this one. But
what would you say, Phil?
I said nice save.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I digress. 10 seconds later, you're going to get hit.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, good luck. I know a few people, maybe. If you want to talk about that after we're done the show, we can have a chat. I kind of was a little bit disappointed with something.
Okay.
I already talked to you guys about this. I ordered a bunch, what I called a crap ton of fiber optics, what I thought was a crap ton.
And to be honest, it seemed like it should have been.
You would think. You spend that kind of money. So to give a little history, fiber optic lighting, this is what I use for all the light painting that I do and stuff like that. I use it as a brush. You have these really funky colored little lights that spin around, and you can do some cool things. And this thing just pops out of here, and you've got a brush that you can do things with. Modify, put on flashlights, stuff. So I love this kind of stuff. So I thought, what if I just bought the fiber optic stuff and made my own wands and couplers and all this stuff? I thought, it costs $20 for a single coupler to attach it to a flashlight or something. That sounds outrageous. So I figured, all right, well, if I spend $50 and buy myself just raw fiber optic strands, I'll get a whole bunch, and I'll be able to make all kinds of different wands. So I got my shipment today. I was excited, and I opened up the envelope, not a box, not a crate, and I have this. Now, you would think I could do a lot with this, right? You would think that there's a lot of stuff. They're all different thicknesses. So I have like a 10 mil, a 40 mil, 30 mil, 20 mil, and then I have the big sucker. I opened up I believe it was the 20 mil, no, 30 mil size. And I took all 50 feet, and I made it into a brush. And this is what I got. Not very much there. When you compare a $10 light wand, and you get all this, and then, anyway, I'll have some fun with it. I did happen to MacGyver up a little coupler out of a bottle, because this is what I do. I'm a MacGyver, right? And this is really cool because I can fit any flashlight in there now, and get my fiber optic, pop that out of there, and any size flashlight, even a little guy, stick that right in there, and it sticks. This bigger guy in here, as long as it fits in the front there, it'll stick right in there. So I kind of had some fun, and I'm sure that'll open up a lot of other things I can do, and hopefully there'll be some of that stuff shown at some of our future light painting sessions, because that's my favorite thing to do. I don't know about you guys, but I love light painting. How much? I know, Phil, we recently got together and did some.
Yeah, which was exciting.
Are you able to share anything?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool.
Haven't really touched on anything. I literally, we did it last Thursday. I put it on my computer, I believe Saturday, and I looked at it tonight.
Okay.
Which is terrible. I really need to get on this editing thing and get stuff done. I also learned that I'm super rusty at editing, which is also a fun thing.
Well, you got to practice.
I just need to,
you got to put those muscles. You got to exercise those muscles. Michael, have you done much light painting yourself?
Not light painting, no. I've done bits of it for school, but I haven't. It's like I was saying a while back. I do more light sculpting. I like to do the impossible lighting exposures like that, but even that I haven't done. I was planning on doing that actually this Saturday for that shoot, and that was going to be what possibly part of what I would use for my composite class coming up in November, but gonna have to reschedule or work something new out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll figure something out, and like I said, we'll talk as soon as we're done the show. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Let's start talking about some stuff, because the Banter Show. Now, just to remind everybody, we have 3 shows that we do. We have a photo review show where we review your photos from the previous photo challenge, which is a 3-week challenge. We have the Tips and Techniques show where we try and give a deliverable. We try and give something where you're watching it, you learn about a specific topic, you can walk away with some really good tips on how to do it better. That was the food photography one we had with Navi last week. A lot of fun. Miss Navi on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's awesome. I can't wait for Sunday. That's going to be a great session. And then we have the Banter Show, where we have the ability to ramble on a little bit more than normal. We will still try and keep the show at an hour. Usually the tips and techniques and photo reviews go longer. Banter, we can just say, we're done, see ya. So we'll try and keep this one a little closer to an hour. But we can talk about all kinds of cool things, and there have been a lot of cool things that have gone on in the world of photography lately. A lot of cool things.
Absolutely.
Anything from new cameras being released, new technology in cameras, which is really cool. Going through the notes here, the Olympics. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
When I did the photo expo last year, the Daytripper Photo Expo in Newmarket, we rented the community center. We had 30 classes. It was awesome. We did all kinds of cool things. Different instructors from all over. Originally, the keynote speaker was going to be Dave Black, and Dave Black has shot 13 Olympics, I believe.
Nice.
Probably this one as well. Joe McNally shoots the Olympics. I mean, you've got some of the world's best photographers, absolute best sports action storytelling photographers who shoot at the Olympics, and there's been some awesome photos, some photos that are going to be etched in people's minds for the rest of your lives, like the Usain Bolt photo when he's running with his head turned with a big grin on his face and the slow shutter speed, and everything's blurred away except Usain, his big smile. We're going to look at that tonight. And there's some other cool stuff too. Phil, why don't we start with this? You You mentioned to us. Now, Gabriel had shown me this before, the wing. What do you have? You have Usain.
I'm a step ahead of myself.
No, that's fine. There's the photo we were just talking about, Usain Bolt. I love panning photos. You're moving
That's
with the
such
action.
a good way of making your action shots, because you're gonna sit there. Let's say you go to your kid's soccer game. You're gonna take a bunch of pictures of them looking like they're standing still, relatively. Panning is a great way of just adding life to your shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just such an interesting way to tell a story as well, because it's not like you can really choose what's going to be sharp. He didn't probably know that Usain Bolt was going to be looking over and smiling in his direction when he took this picture. A lot of it is very fluky, but you have to put yourself in those challenging situations to end up with that kind of gold. You see what I did there?
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
So I'm making faces. You just can't see them.
You're right about that. As long as you don't look like Usain Bolt, because that would be stealing his thunder.
Now, with shots like this, he probably or she, K, I don't know. Sure, Kai. Yep. They probably shot a bunch of pictures.
Oh, sure.
And with panning, you're going to get a lot of garbage and a couple good ones. And so they just, these were the good ones, and the good ones were awesome.
Amazing. And then, of course, Joe McNally with his photo of, I'll pull that one up.
Okay.
I love Joe McNally. I mean, I did Joe's seminar in Toronto. He's one of my favorite sports photographers of all time, but he's not just sports, he's everything. So I was watching this, actually, where the American pole vault jumper, if she had made the jump, she would have won gold, and she just tipped the bar as she was going over, and just tipping it. And you can see as she's coming down, Joe happens to catch that moment where she's pissed. She sees the bar just about to fall, and she's letting out a yell like, "No!" What a story. What an absolute story this is. And Joe's a storyteller. And when you can find these amazing talents like Joe McNally, it's a great thing to watch. If you love sports photography, I love sports photography, capturing that moment where you're like, holy crap, I didn't even realize that was happening until I looked at my image after,
Mm-hmm.
So he tells the story here. Almost didn't bother putting my camera to my eye. Easy to get a bit lazy 2 weeks into this. So many shooters here making lots of terrific pics. You can think from this distance, why bother? I was in position to make photos of the last baton pass to Usain Bolt during the men's 400 or 4x100 relay, which meant that he was on the other side of the track. It's easy to get daunted, especially when you see the infield photogs close enough to get the action when using wide glass. See, I love that when photographers talk like that, just say wide glass. They're not being descriptive. We know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
How can I make a worthwhile image from my spot, comparatively on the other side of the moon? But the pole vault heated up, and there was drama at the end, and two wonderful athletes vied for the gold. So he's telling the story. He's weaving the web, and he talks about how he used his 400 f2.8, started to shoot, albeit with faint hope of a good picture. Then Sandy shouted at the falling bar on her last attempt, which gave her the silver medal, and the Greek competitor won gold. And I remember she was so happy, had her Greek flag wrapped around her, and it was a moment, and all of a sudden I find Joe McNally captured that moment in this single frame, and to me that's stopping time. You're preserving time in a way that you can't do in any other medium. Video, you watch it, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're there, you watch it, it's gone. A photo, you capture that image, and it's there forever, and it's etched in your mind, and that's one of those iconic images that you're always going to remember. That's one of the things I love about photography in general. How do you guys feel about that?
I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. So Christine says she also loves sports photography. Always something I wanted to try. Unfortunately, I'm always the one involved in the sport. Then there's that. When I have the opportunity. So it's interesting you say that, because I'm actually planning with Blake Zimmerman. Next year, we're doing, I believe it's in April or May, we're going to be going to Battle Arts. No, not Battle Arts. I'm so sorry. That was last time. We're going to CrossFit, Crossbody, gym, out in Kitchener. And this is a new gym. My buddy Ben Ortman, he is a wrestler, and he owns a wrestling gym. They literally just train wrestling. So they have the ring all set up. They have everything set up, and we're going to go there and have 4 of his students in the ring and a referee, and we're going to do some mock matches. So you have that time to practice and to try different things and to experiment. So I don't know of any other better environment to learn photography than actually doing it, and this is going to be just a great session. She says, I hate to ask you again to explain the current challenge. I was under the impression that Zagarnik could be combined with food. Michael's recent comment confused me a little. Michael.
Yes, I saw we had a submission in the weekly photo challenge that was a food shot and a Zagarnik shot. So I asked to clarify which category he would like it judged under. I got to double check who actually. It was Robert's photo.
Mm-hmm.
So he posted an orange getting cut with a knife, about to be cut with a knife, and decided that he would rather it be voted under the Zagarnik category. So I guess it was that the clarification. As far as I understood, we decided that it would be 2 separate challenges.
Yeah.
Is that how we're doing it? Yeah.
But it's basically you get up to 6 points in each challenge, but if you combine the 2 challenges, it's 6 plus an additional 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does that work?
I was the one.
Either way, it'll be. We'll figure it out as we go.
We're really not known for our organization on these challenges, are we?
Yeah.
No, we're
So
having.
You can do one photo that covers both topics and get bonus points, or take 2 separate photos and have the chance of even more points.
That's right.
Yes.
That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes it clear as mud.
Yes.
And Blake is watching. He says, woohoo, wrestling. I know, it's so cool to shoot this stuff. And you know the best part about wrestling? I mean, everybody says wrestling is fake. I'm going to show you how fake wrestling is. Hang on a second, Randy.
Are we going to want to see this?
I don't know if you will.
Okay.
Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. So, you guys know who Brock Lesnar is, right?
I have a feeling someone's getting injured.
Brock Lesnar is a beast. He's a UFC champion. He's a WWE champion. He's a legitimate fighter, and he's also a wrestler. And I don't want to say wrestling's not legitimate, but it's predetermined. So we all
That's a slippery slope.
It can be a slippery slope. But I shoot wrestling. I love it. I love the guys. They're all amazing people. Like every single wrestler I've ever met is one of the most polite people I've ever known. Very intelligent, very practiced, and just amazing athletes doing backflips off a top rope that's this big around and landing on a person exactly how they're supposed to without killing the person or themselves. That's a talent. So you could talk about it all you want. Predetermined, yes. Fake, no. Anyway, I can't find the photo. Doesn't matter. Bottom line is Lesnar totally tore Randy Orton's head open. He took off his pads and he just started reefing on his head and split him open. He had to have 10 staples in his skull. Bad news. They literally had to call the match. So I love wrestling when it is sports entertainment. It's controlled. If it's one of those things like Cactus Jack used to do, where barbed wire, baseball bats and things like that, it's not my bag. I mean, there's a place for that. There's people that enjoy it. That's not my bag. I don't want my camera getting blood on it when I'm shooting. I don't see the fun in that.
No, I don't.
And Blake says, no, not fun at all. Blake, he's watching, he says Finn Balor separated his shoulder at the beginning of the match, popped it in himself, and then went on for 20 more minutes and won the match. And you could see it. You could literally see him land with his arm on the railing, and it pops, and then he's on the ground, and you can see him grab his arm and just put his shoulder back in place and keep on wrestling. Unreal. Oh, Blake, he shared the post. I don't know if I really want to show it. If people want to see it and they're watching, you can go to the Q&A and, oh no, yeah, I could show you. It's not pretty. So, okay, so for those of you watching who are squeamish right now, look away. You can't call this fake. I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought that was going to be worse.
Well, it's pretty gross. It's a big gash in a dude's head. Anyway, that's enough of that. So thanks, Blake, for sending me that link. I appreciate it, dude. Okay, so what were we getting at?
Slider, wing, rails. So a lot of times, we had a video podcast a couple weeks ago, probably more like 2 months ago, but hey, a couple weeks, all the same thing. And we talked about different tools and different things you can use when shooting video. And one of the common things people see in videos is like that nice slide when the entire camera just kind of goes across the scene. And usually you generally have, a large rail setup or some sliders, whatever you want to call them, and you basically mount your camera to it. They're usually, rather long or super big, and they're really a pain to carry around. You need to mount them on something solid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's a company that we stumbled across. I stumbled across it today, and then Brian actually got the link about it last night, and it's called the Wing. Now, it is basically a slider or a rail system without the rails. So I'm not sure how well that seems to be working okay. Now, if you go to the main page, Brian, and scroll down a little bit, keep going a bit more. Nope, okay. I'm going to share where I am because I don't think this is the main page. Bear with me for a second. There we go. I don't know how well this is working, this GIF, this GIF. I don't know how well it's working for everyone. But effectively, it slides across a straight line. So it looks like it shouldn't be straight, but it's straight. And it goes back and forth along the same plane, which I think is really cool. It's a compact slider. It'd be great if you want to get into doing video stuff. If we can look at this picture here, it's run off of a series of belts. Looks like 2 different belts. Now, the problem I have with this, I'm a fan of really cool things. The problem I have with it is this, in American dollars.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little much for something.
This is something you could probably MacGyver.
Well, I was going to say, and showing how it works on your website seems like a great way of another country making a cheap version of it. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a great option. I'd say give it 2 months and buy the knockoff, because it's probably going to work just as well. And only if you're looking at doing video stuff. But really, really cool idea, and something that I thought was interesting to share for anyone who does a lot of video or who wants to do back and forth motions with their camera.
Now, I have a big concern actually with this being designed the way that it is, especially because if you look in the corner, it says not motorized. This is operated manually. Yep. From what little experience I have using video sliders, the best practice I learned to get into is start recording or start shooting as you're sliding to get that clear pan across without having any jerky motions. And I'm thinking the way that this is shaped, and even in this GIF, it's not going to the very end of the line.
No,
what's this going to be like when it actually goes completely flat? How much trouble are people going to have trying to move this thing in a fluid motion when the movement itself is not a single direction?
And how sturdy is it going to be at the ends? Because you have 1 connection, 2 connection, 3 connection before it touches your camera. Whereas if we look at a standard or a normal rail system, this is also not a normal rail system, but a normal rail system is generally, a nice long solid piece. Okay, this is a bad example.
And I'm used to ones that have 2 tripods.
Yeah,
on
and
either side, yeah.
Usually you would mount it on something solid, put it on a big tripod, 1 on each end. That way, as it slid, this is also not what I'm going for. That way, as it slid, it would be sturdy. So I think it's a really cool idea, but I don't know if it'd be that great of an option for a regular slider.
Well, hey, like you said,
for a lot of applications.
It's definitely something that's going to make a lot of folks carry it with them because it's very compact. $250 for a slider if it's smooth, and that's the kicker. A lot of people pay a lot more than that.
Henry's has those Camera ones.
And
they're not terribly expensive. Yeah, and that thing worked awesome. Now, albeit they can get a little wonky and they'll have friction points as you go through, but if you're moving it by hand, you can combat it pretty well, and if you're going to add a motor to it, that takes care of the problem anyway.
I think ultimately it's like anything. You have to be creative with your videography. And use Peter McKinnon as an example. This is a buddy of ours. He's been on the show a few times. And one of the shows that he was on, he was talking about how he was in a hotel in England and he had to shoot a scene where a guy was trashing the hotel. And he didn't have his slider. He wasn't going to pay to have his Cinovate slider shipped out to England or whatever. So they literally took the Bible from the drawer. They stuck it on an ironing board that was in the room, and they literally just slid the slider on on a Bible across
Yeah.
the ironing board, and he got a smooth result. So where there's a will, there's a way. And I think anytime I see something like that, so simple to do, that's $250, I'll think, all right, I'll spend $60 and buy fiber optics and try and do it myself. So that's just how I roll.
Hey, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, exactly. I'll win this. Trust me, I'll win this. I'm going to have some cool... Like, this is a cool brush that I made right here.
It is.
Anyway. Again, I digress. So, speaking of video, have you seen the new D3400 Nikon?
I did not click on that yet.
So, I don't think I put a link, but the new D3400 Nikon has been announced. It's their entry-level price point alternative. Does decent video, decent photos, has the anti-aliasing filter removed, so it's apparently very sharp.
Okay.
It's replacing the D3300. And the thing is, you're going to find probably the D3300 Christmas time selling for around $500. That's kind of what I'm thinking with the lens.
Which is not bad for a pretty decent camera.
Exactly. The 3400 has less dynamic range than the D3300. Apparently.
Okay.
This is what I've been educated on. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It has
Which isn't the end of the world.
But it has SnapBridge. So SnapBridge
Which is
Nikon's,
the end of the world.
it's Nikon's new Bluetooth connectivity option. The problem with SnapBridge, first of all, is it doesn't work. Currently, I cannot get SnapBridge to work on my Android phone, and Android is the only platform that it works on. It doesn't work on iPhone. So all you iPhone users are going to have to wait if they make these compatible. Otherwise, the Android users are going to have to wait for it to work.
Yeah. Which, I know there's some advantages to it, but the main thing of people trying to put pictures on their phone directly from their camera, I think if you want a picture to be on your phone, take a picture with your phone. If you want to get into more creative options, you want to get into controlling your camera from your phone, that's some really cool stuff. But
I can give you a couple ideas where this is useful. Now, for my world, after a wrestling event, I get in the car, and I'm either coming home with my buddy Sean, who shoots with me, or I'm coming home with Shelly. And one of those two are driving, not me. So I can be sitting in the passenger seat with my camera and my phone, send a couple of those wrestling shots over to my phone, and post them on Facebook so all the wrestlers will see them right when they're still jazzed about being at the event.
And so, yeah, but you're not going to get a ton of editing done unless you try and do, Lightroom Mobile on your phone or something.
And it does tend to get soft, and it's not looking as clean as it will from my computer, but at least I'm getting 2 or 3 photos out there and getting people excited. Keeping that juice going, because that's what you want to do. You want to keep the excitement going, right? Another example, I could be hanging out with my mother at the studio doing our family photo shoot, and I can send the photos right there on the spot to my, I don't know, I didn't do this, so I'm just kind of reaching here, but I can take one of these photos and send it to somebody who wasn't there and say, hey, look, we're having a good time here. You should have been here, type of thing. And you never know. So it is kind of cool, and it's also nice how you can take your phone, or your camera I should say, set it on a tripod, and jump in the photo with your wife and use your phone as a remote control to do a selfie in the middle of Algonquin Park.
Now, that is the type of phone connectivity I think is cool. Using the phone to control the camera. Other than that, I'm not sure. But it does say that there's some new lenses or something coming out to help you not autofocus during movies.
And that's another thing too. Like, they've come out with 2 new lenses, an 18-55 VR and non-VR, and a 70-300 VR, and these are called AFP. So a new mount, thankfully. It's called AFP because P stands for pulse motor. If you know, Canon a couple years ago came out with their STM motors, a stepper motor lens, which gives you much quieter autofocus. So if you are shooting video and having it autofocus while you're shooting, which people will do when they shoot in auto mode, you won't hear the meow, meow, meow kind of sound as it's focusing for you. You just hear...
And you just see an absolute abysmal attempt at focusing.
Time will tell. I haven't used the feature too much. I'm not a big video guy, so I don't want to, slag it. But they're coming out with new lenses. They are ED glass on the 7300 VR. It's not internal focus like the real 7300 VR, but it's interesting.
They're 7300 VR is not internal. Yeah, it's got the ring on the back. Okay,
yeah, it's got the panel inside. Yeah. It makes it a little quicker. You can choose your infinity focus point a little easier if you're doing anything at a distance. There's some benefits to that. internal focus mechanism. What's Blake say here? Screen on the phone is still better than the one on your camera. I can tether my phone to my camera control, but also have the photos stored on the phone, easier to zoom in, check focus, etc. Pinch to zoom. There you go. That's kind of cool. Now, I do know that Blake has a D800, which is 36 megapixels, so I hope you have a big memory card in your phone, my friend, or else your file size is going to be huge, unless you upload low-res images to your phone, in which case, why use a D800?
Yeah, and then you're kind of circumventing things. But speaking of pinch to zoom, the new 5D Mark IV has a touchscreen.
Very interesting. So yes, the 5D Mark IV has just been rumored.
Rumorly announced.
Rumorly announced. That's a technical thing.
Absolutely.
Rumorly announced, yes. So rumors have announced that the 5D Mark IV will be out August 27th, or at least they're going to announce it August 27th, which is Saturday. I'll be watching Haywire at the Aurora Rib Fest, which I'm very excited about. I hate saying that name, Aurora. Anywho, the rumors of the 5D Mark IV, apparently it's going to be a camera. It'll take pictures. And I'm sure if you're really good, it'll do video.
And it might do video in 4,000 things.
4,000 things. You mean 4K?
4,000 units. 4,000 units, cool. Which you can then attempt to jam onto your computer, which doesn't have a 4K screen, and watch it on your TV, which is potentially 4K, but not have something that puts 4K to your TV. But that's okay, I digress.
And if you want to make a copy, you have to have a Blu-ray burner.
Or digital copy.
Michael, do you do much video?
No, I avoid it like the plague.
Why is that?
I just realized very early that okay, no. I do enjoy video to an extent. I enjoy filming it. I like making it. There will always be certain elements of a video that you just can't put in a photo. And sometimes when I'm thinking about ideas, I have to remind myself that they're not photo ideas. But I have to say one of the biggest reasons I avoid video is a bit of a silly reason. I find video editing software very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And no matter how big my screen is, there's not enough space for me to think.
You know, atrocious. It's funny you say that. I mean, obviously you go for the 5K Apple screen, and you would just juice all over the place.
Screen. I've got a 4K screen right now. It's 31 inches. It's glorious. I've got too much space. And I don't even want to put video editing software on it. I don't even want to try.
Interesting. I get that. I mean, video is a very daunting thing. There's a lot more involved. And you're a composite photographer. You can't have your vision come through in a video the way you would as a composite photo. Is that pretty accurate? Yeah,
to an extent. I would love to do behind-the-scenes videos. I'd love to do videos talking about how I build my photos, demonstrating the editing, demonstrating the shooting process. It would be a really cool thing to do and finally make use of my own YouTube channel. But it's knowing how uncomfortable it makes me to sit in front of that screen. It's really hard to convince myself to actually do it.
Well, before we get on to a thing that I'm just thinking about, because there's some software that Gabriel mentioned to me called DaVinci Resolve, which is free software actually, which is really good for video editing, and I'm digging into that.
DaVinci Resolve.
DaVinci Resolve. It's a really interesting interface. It looks great, gives you a lot of control over color matching, and all kinds of really interesting things. As a free software, it's awesome. It's from Blackmagic, the camera company, Blackmagic. Do great video stuff. But to get back to this 5D, apparently it's going to be 30 megapixels, 30.4. Yep. It'll have a burst mode of 7 frames per second, which kind of puts it in line with the D750 Nikon.
Which is to be expected out of a full-frame camera.
Yep, absolutely. Autofocus is going to be dual-pixel autofocus. So they're going to that dual pixel, which gives you very incremental changes in focus without a lot of hunting going on. That's what the 80D has and the 70D had to start with. It's got 61 points of focus with 41 cross types. Now, these are all preliminary stats, of course. We'll know for sure August 27th. By the way,
I have an update on that.
Update
potentially, it's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And they're also teasing that you could get a feature in the 5D Mark IV that has not yet been seen on a DSLR.
Interesting. So, well,
I don't know what that means.
what do you mean by that?
I just read it, and they say they won't. No one has information on it. It's just that it could be something. Yes, it could be something. New that we haven't seen yet. So it's interesting to see what it's going to be. I'm hoping that this new article I'm reading is correct, that it is being announced tomorrow, which seems weird that you would announce it not at an event, but it also is being announced during the week. So I guess there's better press or something. I don't know how it works.
Canon has their own little world.
Everyone does.
Everyone does. One thing I do like is the fact that there's no indications that it's going to be CFast memory cards. You're back to SD and CF. CFast cards are expensive and expensive.
Have they been on a DSLR before?
Yes.
Okay, so scratch that idea then.
Yeah.
Something I've never looked into. What's the difference between CF and CFast? I keep hearing CFast, but
well,
never
CF
seen
is
one in
compact
action.
flash, and
Yeah.
CFast is compact fast. I know. It's faster. It's a ridiculously fast write speed. So if you're transferring 4K video, there's not as much lag. There's a faster transfer back to your computer.
Does it fit in the CF slot? It's the same.
It's
style
not a
of
CF
card.
slot. No, it's a proprietary card.
Oh,
I know.
yeah. I didn't even like it when they introduced it to the D4s, D4S. I don't know that they have the
XQD.
XQD.
Yeah.
I appreciate newer, faster cards, but don't isolate it that way. It's like my annoyance with the D800 that we had this simple infrared function we were talking about before with that remote, and they're taking features out of the new cameras so you can buy the $200 accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Always how it works.
Yeah. Oh, and for example, the Nikon D500 and the D5, they use the new radio transmitter system instead of infrared line of sight creative lighting system, which I love. So the new SB5000 flash doesn't work with creative lighting system.
That's a bummer.
So you have to buy the WR10A adapter piece. It's $100 or whatever.
But to be fair, I think Canon did that first.
They did. You had to buy the STE3 Canon transmitter to
STE4.
fire STE4 to
No,
fire.
STE3. Sorry, not the STE2, and then the STE3.
Doesn't matter. You had to buy the
Yeah.
transmitter, and
Exactly.
that you needed that to fire the new 600EX flash. So they're changing, and I think camera companies have to do stupid things like that because how are they going to make more money?
Now, to be fair with the radio triggering instead of infrared, I like the radio triggering better because if you're outside on a super bright day, sun's beating down on the pavement, it's so bright, and your flash is a little too far away,
Yeah.
infrared's not getting there. It's just getting
There's a lot of use sets where the
behind a
radio,
wall, something along. So it is a good option. It's just, we got to complain about new things.
radio. We just have to complain. You're right about that. The humankind, we have to complain. Anyway,
New iPhone's out. It's terrible.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I would need a new phone.
You do? Okay. What happened to your old one?
Well, I have it. It's right here.
Okay.
A few years ago, we had a whole show on iPhoneography, and we were talking about all the choices that are available because I needed a new phone.
Mm-hmm.
And my plan was up, and I needed to get a new phone. I had an iPhone 4 at the time. It's 2 years ago. I still had an iPhone 4. I still have it. I use it as my alarm clock now. So I needed a phone with a larger screen, and I needed a phone with good sound, good audio, great camera. I wanted the best camera I could possibly get. I was hoping for waterproof and all these really cool things. So I found the Sony Xperia Z2, which I still use and I really, really like, and it's extremely fast even today. The LCD screen, or the screen itself, is an IPS monitor, so the image quality is absolutely spectacular on it. Just, you're not going to really be able to tell, but it's just beautiful image quality on this thing. And I really can't think of a downside to it, aside from the fact that there's a tiny little scratch or a tiny little crack right up here in the corner.
You got to get a new one then.
Well, this is it, right? The covering for the side over here, which keeps this thing waterproof, is gone. I still have the one on this side. But this side came off because that's where you have to plug it in to charge. Other than that, I have no complaints. So why do I need a new phone? And in theory, when you have a contract, I had a contract with Bell, the first 2 years of your contract, while you're locked in, you're still paying off your phone. You're paying $60 or whatever for your phone, and then you pay for your data plan. That's pretty much what we do in Canada for cell phone service.
Yep.
Everybody, it's the same deal. You pay for your phone in the 2 years, and when the phone's paid off, your monthly bill should go down by that $60.
Never does.
Never does. But you can call them.
Because we have an oligopoly.
An oligopoly. I'll go with that. But you can call them, and you can say, look, my phone is now paid for. Charge me less. I'm not paying for the phone anymore. You legally can do that. So my big plan was to ride out my Bell contract and then keep my phone and go to Rogers and pay less. The problem is this. I was a Bell employee. Henry's Cameras sold Bell phones, and we got better prices. So now we don't sell phones, and those better prices are disappearing, which kind of sucks. So I'm paying X amount of dollars now, and that's with the phone and everything, and I'll pay the same amount of dollars if I switch over to Rogers without the phone because it'll be less. So the question is, do I just get a new phone? And if I get a new phone, what phone do I get? So do you guys have any ideas, any thoughts on new phones?
I don't know. I have an iPhone. I use them continuously since the second generation iPhone came out, basically. I find it works, gets the job done. Sure, it doesn't do fancy things. I can't install new operating systems or apps that I shouldn't have on my phone, and I think most things these days are available on Android or Apple. It answers the phone.
You can talk to people.
I can talk to people. I can send emails. I can have different apps on it. I think it works. Plus, the camera's pretty good. I know some people that have Samsung phones, and they jump up and down and say that those are the best, and it's the only one to go with. But
well, Blake is actually suggesting the Galaxy S7 or the Note 7. I was actually considering the Note 7 because I still need a big phone. Mm-hmm. If I did go iPhone, I'd have to go iPhone 6 Plus or 6S Plus, whatever. And they're what, $1,000?
It's a little ridiculous. But still, the Note 7 or Note 7 is still going to be pretty expensive.
Well, this is it.
It's waterproof.
And it's waterproof.
Yeah. Now, what you can do is you can actually take any phone, and there's a company you can send it to, and they will vapo cover vacuum chamber the phone and effectively make it waterproof.
Meh.
Interesting.
Meh.
I'm tempted to bring it back to photography, actually. On the topic of phones, I like iPhones just for the user interface. I'm picky about that. I like the minimalism. I would have to say anyone that wants functionality, avoid Apple. But I've noticed just a huge fall off of certain aspects of photography only being applicable to certain formats. Like a lot of the Wi-Fi devices, a lot of the shared tethering devices are Canon-oriented. A lot of different open source software, any sort of extra functional mobile device software is really friendly to Android. You just have more options, more things you can do.
Yeah, but I like your. Sorry to interrupt. I like your point though about how Apples are very straightforward, and you don't have to worry about tweaking. I've always liked that about Apple. I'm not one of those guys that likes to customize apps and download third-party things or whatever. And sometimes I'll just turn my phone on and I'll have advertisements from apps that I've downloaded, and there's all these things. I never had that with Apple.
Yeah,
I'd really rather not have that.
Yeah. So, from an application and usefulness perspective, the good thing about Apple is they're very strict and straightforward and consistent, and the worst thing about Apple is they're very strict and straightforward and consistent.
And they decide that they don't really care about humankind and humanity, and pay their employees crap and make them jump off buildings. But I mean, that's a different thing altogether.
Well, that's the manufacturing.
One of the things I noticed is a very isolated thing, though, as far as for me and Blake would be concerned, being big fans of Capture One. Very friendly to Apple devices. I think it's the only program that I know in my own use is isolated to being more functional on Apple and made for Apple use, that they have the Capture Pilot, which I love using, and I was going to jump in actually on the topic of adding Wi-Fi to the cameras or SnapBridge and being able to use that. I would love the option of just having smaller res edited straight out of the camera with the picture control settings. If I'm taking candids, if I'm doing street photography, if I'm doing an event where I'm not getting paid to spend 6 hours editing, then yeah, throw a quick sharpening on it in cameras, drop it on the phone. Anyone that's doing an event like that, they're only going to see it on a phone anyways.
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore.
It's true.
Save
Good
myself
point.
the trouble.
And then when
So
you get
I would
home, you
love that
re-edit,
option.
and then you do what you want with the real images and whatever. But
Yeah,
at least you
but
have
at
that
the
instant.
same time, I would love anything that could be good about doing on a phone. I would love to do on a tablet. Having Capture Pilot on the iPad, where I can rate photos, check focus, see them in nice, crisp quality, and remotely control my camera. All that's really nice that I could do on my phone or my tablet. I usually use it on my tablet instead. But I wish there was more flexibility to that. You'd have to. It sucks that you have to have a Wi-Fi signal to get that working half the time.
Michael, what year were you born?
Oh, where did that come from?
I know it's random. I'm just curious. What year?
94.
94. So I graduated high school in 89. Up until that point, graduated high school in 89. This stuff that we're talking about right now was Star Trek. You know
Pretty
what
much.
I mean?
Like Picard and...
The only place you could see somebody take something like this and put it to their face was on Star Trek. For us to have the technology we have right now and to be having this conversation right now is just amazing to me. I'm like a little kid just looking at all this information going, like, oh my god, this is so cool.
I also feel like William Shatner is going to pop out of somewhere.
He is
And you're
Canadian.
like,
I feel like I was
the future.
I feel like I was born at the perfect time because I remember in my childhood the first game that I ever played was playing on like the SNES where everything was platform, two-dimensional, looks like a bad cartoon drawing.
Joust was my favorite
And
game
like
on Atari.
growing up with that and moving up to we're already playing augmented reality and virtual reality 3D
Which is
games.
exciting.
We've got 3D televisions. Like, yeah, it is sci-fi, and I'm growing up at the perfect time where everything is moving and expanding so quickly that we don't even have time to decide what's a fantasy anymore or what's hasn't been announced yet and it's coming out next week.
Yes. I know, it's amazing. And then, like, the algorithms that go into this Pokemon game, it just, my head explodes with the concept of it. I mean, you're walking around and you follow and you catch things and you leave lures and you do. By the way, I don't play this game. I don't have it on my phone. I will never have it on my phone. But
Well, the user base of it has massively died off in a spectacular fashion.
Just like
They lost
that,
like
right?
10 million
They've butchered it.
users or something in the last
Wow.
like 2 weeks. Which
We've had 2 games come out recently that have done that to their users where everyone just got really excited and immediately gone. And it
well,
was
it's possibly because of Newmarket,
why?
where I live, because the people were on Main Street playing the game, and this woman at the top of a building in Newmarket was firing at them with a BB gun or pellet gun.
Oh dear,
And she didn't hit anybody, but it became worldwide news, and
missed it. That's hilarious, but terrible. You should not do that.
bad. Bad.
Hilarious,
Daytripper photo does not
nonetheless.
condone the use of pellet guns on Pokemon players.
I wish I could find it. There was something
Violence.
I saw describing. There's another game that came out that had a beautiful idea to it called No Man's Sky, and the idea is that it's procedurally generated maps, so it's billions. They literally said in the advertising there's over 5 billion planets that you can travel to in this galaxy.
You were telling us about
Universe.
this.
Yeah, they made it sound amazing. Everyone was so hyped for it. Everyone pre-ordered it. I almost pre-ordered it. I'm really glad I didn't. And they just shared the statistics recently. They have already lost 90% of their users. This game's still brand new.
Which,
So-
to be fair, is not terribly uncommon. Now, I'm actually on the other side of things with this exact thing we're talking about. I didn't do any of that pre-order stuff, and I actually just started with it. And
You got it?
I do. And I actually was playing it a little bit earlier before I came on here, and I like it. Now, I think the issue is, and you see this issue all the time, they come out with an idea, and they were pitching the idea, and the idea outran itself. And so the community itself, I think, helped take this idea and help expand on it. And yeah, there's a little bit of weird marketing, but that's also what you get when you have a team of 5 people trying to make something and have a company like Sony doing all of the advertisement for it. So it's technically an indie title, so like an independent title that was treated as if it was, this big thing. And so what I think is going to happen, what a lot of things I've been reading about and I agree with, is it's going to start off in a very similar way that we saw Minecraft. So Minecraft, blocky game, build things. It started off with nothing. And then as it went, and each update just added more and more and more and more until it actually became a full game. And I think that's what we're going to see on this side of things here.
I believe that, actually, because that's one of the biggest complaints is that it's this idea of having a huge procedurally generated area that draws from a resource pool randomly, but the resource pool itself is so small.
Yeah.
But by that math, very easy thing to upgrade.
Absolutely, and it's something that can exactly happen over time. Now, just to jump back for a sec, for people who aren't sure what procedurally generated means, basically it means that instead of having someone who pre-writes a story, so think of it as a novel, instead of having it as a novel that you're reading, and you know that this page goes to that page, which goes to that page, with procedurally generated, it's as if each page, as soon as you flip to the next one, it's using a series of algorithms, maths basically, to generate what's on that page. So every single page you look at is effectively part of the same story, but it's different in its own unique ways.
So you can play the game a dozen times and have a completely different experience each time.
Yeah,
sort of.
There is no fate because that page is being created as you're turning it.
Exactly.
What's this game called?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Well, check it out, guys. Check it out for yourselves. And I think it's
interesting.
Sorry, I think it's funny when Ivan says, "Put yourself in the shoes of a 77-year-old." And then there's that. I mean, my dad's 81 or something like that, and you can't even talk to him about these things. Yeah, it is like, okay, what? Leave me alone. I don't want to. I'm doing things with my life. So, I don't know. Gaming is awesome, and it's really progressed. I still prefer Unreal Tournament on the old PC computer. I love that. Yeah. That was my favorite game of all time. You can be a little sniper. Like, there was user-created rooms, and one of them was a stereo store, a retail stereo store, and you can be so small that you're hiding on a shelf behind a TV, and you're sniping somebody across the way, and just such a cool game. And there was like Tool music playing and everything. And then Blake's, of course, says, Ivan, Brian is working on it. Boom, boom. Thanks, Blake. Thanks.
Now, on the other side of things, welcome to the Patch Podcast.
Yeah, I should actually name this the Patch Podcast.
It's a video game podcast.
Oh, well, too bad, because the Patch, I'm living in the Patch in Newmarket here.
It is. We can have an audio-only version where it goes quiet every once in a while.
I wanted to say one thing for No Man's Sky that I thought was hilarious was one of the reviews that I heard about. Someone, as it is now, described it as being as wide as the ocean and as deep as a puddle.
Yes, and that's entirely what it is. And I think as time goes on, it's going to expand. But it's still a great concept. It's an awesome idea. And I'd like to see that idea flourish and grow.
Well, I tell you what, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. So let's get to one more bit of information. Michael, why don't you choose what we talk about next? There's a few extra things on the notes.
Oh, boy. Let me find the notes. Let's talk about the GoPro.
Yes.
Okay. Go for it. He's like,
you want me to do it?
Why? I didn't even know about this until you just pointed it out to me.
So I'll start. And so...
Go ahead.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So there's a video online of... It's basically a series of clips that have been tastefully edited together into a movie. And the way a GoPro works, as you probably all know, the start button to record is on the front. So effectively, every time you start a video, it's you pointing the camera at yourself. So there's always this like 1.5-second clip of the camera pointing at you before it starts doing whatever it is you wanted it to do. And so this guy has kind of hilariously edited together all of the clips of him starting and I guess stopping his videos. And so it's just a bunch of random clips of his face and then whatever he was looking at, set to music, and it's interesting.
It's true, because every single time I use my GoPro to shoot the Birds of Prey sessions or whatever, every single clip starts with your face looking into the GoPro as you hit the button to start it. It's horrible.
And I think the title of GoPro and I is just kind of fun.
I have that clip. I was driving with Navi and I started it and stuck it up the sunroof.
Right on.
Right on, right on. Matthew McConaughey, I swear, it sounds like Matthew McConaughey every time you say right on.
All right, all right, all right.
There you go.
I'm driving a Lincoln before I've been paid to drive a Lincoln. Lincoln's not an official sponsor of the Daytripper Photo Podcast.
Too bad. Maybe next time.
That'd be nice. Fancy Fords.
But
That's not happening now.
It is interesting, though, that somebody finally realized, and this is, I think, very important in the world today, is if you find something that people do every day, but hasn't been pointed out to people,
yeah,
and you emphasize it, and you point it out to people, and they're like, yeah, that's true. This is every single time. It hits home in a different way, and it definitely becomes more impactful.
Almost like the guy that recorded his entire Las Vegas vacation by pointing the camera at himself because he didn't understand which way the GoPro was supposed to go.
Geez.
So his entire vacation is him narrating what he's seeing with a GoPro pointed at his face.
That's funny.
In fact, if you look up Guy Records Vacation, it's the first thing that shows up on Google.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. All right, well, I think we've covered quite a bit of stuff on the show today, and we're going to wrap it up. We do want to remind everybody the current photo challenge is, I've summed it up, food with a twist of zeitgeist.
I don't know if zeitgeist is the right term.
So, the zeitgeist, that's how you pronounce it?
No, that's the weird series of there's a secret world here and we're all pawns, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, what's the name?
Zagarnik.
Zagarnik.
Did you put that there on purpose?
No, I did not put that. I'm just stupid.
I missed a joke somewhere. Yeah, the Zagarnik effect. So yeah, it's, as to clarify for another time, because we always mix up how we define this, we're doing the photo challenge for food on its own. We have a food challenge. We also have the Zagarnik challenge, which is creating suspense. It's the photo of the moment before sort of the climactic moment of something happening. It's swinging the bat before hitting the ball. So we also have the combined element of the challenge where you can either do one or both and do two different photos to match each category, or you can do one food photo that presents the Zagarnik effect within the photo, and that'll give you bonus points if you score anything with that particular image. So you have the choice of doing one, sort of 1.5, both together in one shot, or submitting two different photos to meet each category.
Right. So food is one, Zagarnik effect is the other. Combine them, plus 2 points.
Yes.
It's fun stuff, and there's some awesome photos that have already been posted to the community, which I'm very happy with. Jerry Kelly, awesome shot. Christine Small just posted her Caesar, which makes me want to go get a Caesar right now. In fact, I might just do that as soon as the show's over. No, I'll probably have a screwdriver. I only have orange juice, but that's a different conversation for another day. So I just want to thank everybody for submitting some photos for the food or Zagarnik photo challenge, because last time we didn't have too many shots.
And it's nice to see see some pictures and seeing some of the new the ideas behind it. I think are awesome. So. Yes,
absolutely, and the stories that we're seeing, beautiful stuff. So thank you all so much for doing that. We hope to see a lot more of these photos. Navi, by the way, is checking these photos out. She's paying attention. So you might even see a critique from the amazing Navi Noom on your image, which she likes to call the whipping post. When she reviews your photo, it's a whipping post review, so don't be surprised if you get one. And as usual, we're going to close the show off with a quote. Now, I put 2 quotes in there Michael, I would love it if you were to pick one of the quotes. You can pick and choose. One's a photography and one's a global.
I'm going to pick, I've heard both of these before, but one of these I absolutely love is a quote by Ansel Adams. There's nothing worse than a sharp image of a fuzzy concept. One of the reasons I really love this is partly to kind of go easy on myself when I get a good idea and I go to shoot it and I miss focus and I can just pretend for myself that I still got a good shot. But it's a really good quote to live by because you're always going to see photos taken by everyone using their cell phones, hobby photographers, professional photographers. They're all over Facebook. There's selfies all over the internet. You're going to see everything everywhere. And there's a lot of really good photos, and there's a lot of really not very good photos. No matter how sharp it is, no matter how many Instagram filters you add to it, some of them just aren't that good.
They're a fuzzy concept.
Yeah, and that's, if you're ever wondering what's missing from this, is what story am I telling? What does this photo say? A photo is, as art, a photo is everything that a painting should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing unless it says something. It has to tell a story. Even a painting of some objects on a table still conveys some sort of message, some emotion, some symbolism.
Well, look at the Mona Lisa. It's a picture of a face, but there's a little bit of a smile there. There's something going on behind her eyes. There's a story that she's trying to tell in just that single static image of a face.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, then you have composite photography where you're literally telling a story through layers and layers of different photos and different ideas and different thoughts.
Yeah.
I love it, and I'm glad you picked that one. There's nothing worse than a sharp image of a fuzzy concept. Ansel Adams, you all know, he's my guru.
It actually ties in nicely with the Zeigarnik effect as well, which I think anyone, whether you're trying the photo challenge or not, or if you're trying a Zeigarnik photo or not, one thing to keep in mind with this is it really challenges your ability to tell a story. Every Zeigarnik photo that is truly a Zeigarnik effect is telling a story. It's your ability to show really before, during, after what's happening in that image. It's your ability to convey that story within the frame. It really challenges that part of your brain. So it's a good thing to keep in mind for any photo that you take.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very cool. I just got some news.
Okay.
From Navi, actually. She went ahead and got those Godoks.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How'd you like them?
She hasn't got them yet. She bought them and it's done. Gah, she says.
Is the one she got from B&H?
I'm not sure exactly where she got them, but I just told her I'd tell the world. So I told the world, Navi has new lights.
Hey.
Which is funny because she sold Pro Photos to get them.
Ooh. Yeah, those are the ones I was saving up for and changed my mind and got these, and I'm completely in love with them, so I'm glad she's joined the dark side with me.
Yeah, you guys will compare notes. Anyway, we are good to go for tonight's show. Thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of viewers tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sticking with us throughout the whole show. If you have any questions for myself, please feel free to contact me at brian@daytripperphoto.com. That's Brian with the Y in at daytripperphoto.com. And Phil, how can folks find you? I mean, week after week after week. I'll have it next week.
Always. It's Cold Fusion at this point.
Cold Fusion.
For those young people, that would be the idea that it's always 20 years away. It's 20 years away, 40 years ago.
And it's going to be as important as free energy.
Well, pretty much. But as of right now, I think Google Plus is probably your best bet. Or
Excellent.
Facebook, wherever you find me. Ask me questions, post something to the wall. I don't know how Google Plus works.
And also to contact Christine Small to meet up with her and give her big grand prize.
I will do that.
There you go. Cool. And Michael, sir, how could folks hire you for your awesome photography?
They can find me at michaellanephoto.com.
Beautiful. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us again this week. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your week to be here with me on the show. And again, thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us out and giving us prizes for these photo challenges. Next week is the photo review for food. It's the 30th of August. Just to remind everybody, we have that show coming up on the 31st of August. That's the photo review show for food. The next week is the 7th of September. We will not be having a show on that day because it's my 20th anniversary with my lovely wife, Shelley. And we're going somewhere. Don't really know where, but we're doing something. Getting out of Dodge. So there'll be a week break, and that'll give people even more time to make the photo challenge for the next time. So thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for being here, and we're out of here. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.